Train the muscles, not the joints.
Welcome back to Natural Gallant Bodybuilding, and today I'm going to talk to you about mountain. Okay, I'm not going to talk to you about mountain. I talk about mountain all the time. What I'm going to talk to you about is something that may be contributing to you having flat muscles. Okay, so the reason why I'm talking about this is that sometimes we go through different diets or we start eating differently, sometimes because you're lazy or sometimes because certain foods are available more than other foods, or maybe because you just want to break from constant bodybuilding regimen or the regime of bodybuilding, constantly eating protein and making sure you're having green vegetables with it and everything's always balanced all the time. But there's something that I thought would be worth talking about that might actually help you if you're noticing that your muscles are flattening out and you're not necessarily getting that pumped feeling days after your workouts. And here's a couple things that you might be doing wrong in your diet. Now, the big thing that a lot of people think is that carbohydrates automatically relate to a pump, meaning that if they have a lot of carbs, then they're automatically going to get full muscles full of glycogen, so therefore they're going to have a good long-term pump. And although a pump in the gym may be partially due to having enough glycogen in the muscle, it is not totally to do with that, okay? That's one part of it, it's one small part, because obviously you do need the energy in the muscle in order to be able to pump the reps, in order to perform activity. That's just a given, right? But let's not forget that your muscles are also fueled by ATP and creatine phosphate, which comes in your protein sources. I mean, even chicken and fish has some creatine in there. And at the same time, there's also the protein aspect, which brings a positive nitrogen balance in the muscle, which really contributes to a massive pump in a big way. So just based on my own experience, the last few months I've been eating a lot higher carbs, my protein intake was a lot lower, and I was noticing I was just feeling flat all the time. So what I did was I cut my carb meals down to just one meal a day, and then I started eating more protein, and as soon as my protein came up, instantaneously, whammo, blammo, pumpy and bumpy, and bam, that's what happened. Bam. So basically what happens is that if you're not getting a pump or you're feeling your muscles are not recovering or they're flattening out, your protein intake might be too low. So experiment with bringing that up at least to about 1 gram per pound of body weight, lean body mass, so say you're 20% body fat, you're 200 pounds, about 160 grams of protein per day. Make sure you bring it up to that, and the better choices of protein you make, the better. So, I mean, getting your protein from bread or from pasta or something like that is not necessarily the type of protein I'm talking about. I'm talking about protein from high quality protein, like whey protein, whether it's dry cured cottage cheese or whether it's cottage cheese, or whether it's from whey protein, or whether it's from chicken or fish or beef or whatever, right? These sources, especially for myself, I find I get a much different feeling in the physical body than if I'm taking in a lot of vegetable protein. So this might be different for you, but experiment with your protein intake and see how your pump is. Now, on the opposite side of the spectrum, the other thing that could be contributing to you not having a pump is going too low in your energy foods. Say your protein is okay, but at the same time you're trying to lose body fat and you're aggressively cutting too much, like you're trying to lose body fat, so you're basically bringing your calories down to nothing or bringing your energy macros down to nothing, and you're not bringing the protein up enough to compensate for it. Especially if you're not doing that, you're definitely going to notice that your pump is going to disappear and you're going to not feel spongy in the muscles, right? Now, that said, I do feel that you need carbs and protein to really fuel the muscles properly. It's just a matter of how much. And for myself, I find 1 carb meal a day, maybe 2, is more than enough, but the rest of my meals should be protein and green vegetables, and that's where I get the most benefit. But if I'm taking in carbs all day long, of course, I'm stuffed full of carbs and energy foods, which give you that satisfied feeling, and then you're not eating, or at least I'm not eating, enough of the protein foods in order to get proper recovery. So this is also what can contribute to you eating at a deficiency of the nutrients that are necessary for your muscles to recover. So bear this in mind. So if you're feeling flat, try upping your protein intake and look at your diet honestly and say, where am I just eating energy foods, or almost like junk food in a way? Like, where are you eating too much of this junk food and not eating enough of the recovery food? Because the recovery food is the most important. If you're not recovering, or if you don't have that positive nitrogen balance in the muscle cell, and you don't have the raw material to make muscle out of, it only makes sense that your muscle will just become catabolic, right? Because there's just no nutrients to make it, or to recover it, or to build it, right? So yeah, I thought this tip would be great for you to learn. I hope this helps you out in your bodybuilding journey. Thanks a lot for watching. If you need to get hold of me, just go to naturalgallantbodybuilding.com, and thanks to the Patreon supporters, and take care for now. Mountain.